Hello and welcome to Slightly Scuffed Stream. Slightly Scuffed Stream is a tradition here at the Assetto Course of Competizione Sim series when we have F1 on. So welcome to the Hungaroring for round 3 of the Pros series. We actually have had a decent turnout of drivers considering that F1 is on very soon, and so I felt it was only fair to hop in order to broadcast for them. I know a lot of the players like to watch these races back, even if we won't get many people live watching, because obviously F1's coming on, and so nobody watches when F1's on, which is fair, you know. As highly as I do think of my streams, I would probably watch F1 as well. So here we are. We're at the start of qualifying for the Pro Split. We've actually gone up to 21 people since I last looked, which is very, very good. F1 starting in something like 10 minutes, so obviously expecting that some people, hoping that people won't just bin it and dip. What is the... I have a few programs to open up. As I said, the sort of the tradition of the scuffed stream is strong when we are doing these. Let's... Have you got a car? What car is that? I can't tell if it's far out. Whatever. I'm just gonna hop on. I think it's Fleety. There we go. It is Fleety. So this is the first flying lap for Fleety around Hungaroring. Hungaroring, a track which I am not the biggest fan of, I must admit. There we go. Do I have the thing up? I have the thing. Nice. It is a track where you can have a lot of chaos, because obviously there is a huge amount of opportunity to overtake, and so hopefully we have a little bit of fun there, but not too much, because we obviously don't want to see everyone just crashing out immediately. We want the course to stay tight. The fun that comes from races at Hungaroring, like a lot of tracks where it is pretty difficult to overtake, often comes from having big trains of cars and mistakes being very punishing, because so many people are in line together. There we go. Okay, so I think I have done this properly. Beat this. Play this. Okay, so I think I have done this properly. Play this. Might need to restart this. But yeah, So we've got our first times coming in. I need to insert on there as well to make sure that the times actually show up properly. Sam Fleety, championship leader so far with a 1:43.5, very good time, just ahead of Jamie Nuttall. Annoyingly, I don't think I can get what I wanted to get working. Anyway, yeah, good start. Guillaume Hamling, someone who's been practicing a lot around here recently. Worried he was a bit too slow, but he's putting in a good initial lap so far in the Ferrari. Rumbouts, who was in the Bentley, has changed car to the BMW. He's down in 10th at the moment. He will have had all of his points wiped, so is no longer in contention at all for the championship, which I will try to get some more. Oh no, I won't get it. I've made a mistake. Okay, whatever. Look at the Ferrari. This is the only Ferrari we have. And I, being a Ferrari fan, I'm a big into that. We've also got a singular Aston, a singular Bentley. Oh no, we have two Astons. A singular Lexus and a singular Mercedes. So a decent variety of cars as Alvarado jumps up to the top. Alvarado and Nutt have been setting some incredibly quick times in the practice area, so I'm not surprised to see either of those at the top. Everything's set up and ready. So, Hungaroring, oh, big snap there from Alvarado. Hungaroring is a track which some people do like as a hot lapping track. But very difficult to race on. Trying to find a car that we can sit on board with a lap with that would be good. Fleety would be good for that, right? Oh, have I changed my... I think I have changed my cameras. Good. Oh no, this is the new car. Good. So, on board with Fleety for a lap of the Hungaroring. Huge start-finish straight. We can cause some interest at turn 1, and it's obviously the main overtaking opportunity. However, there's so much you can use on the outside here to get a better run that it's actually quite hard to, can be quite hard to make a move, because you can come around the outside, get a decent launch, and be on the inside for this corner. And then you can sort of side by side through this next corner. Oh, if you don't go into the wall. You can sort of side by side through that corner. But you'll have to go one by one through here, so it will settle out, and normally the driver who went wide can take a faster line, and so will get advantage for there. So we could possibly see some good action there, but that is still a difficult one to do. Here it looks like a good overtaking opportunity, diving down the inside, but really most of the time isn't. At least one of you is going to, normally both are going to have to hop over some of the curbs, and then we have this section incredibly flowing. I think people like this part of the track for racing, for hot lapping, but obviously for racing can be a little bit of a struggle. And then we get to, god damn it, all of our drivers who I'm trying to sit on with are just binning it. Dionysus, our third driver, will finally make it through a lap of this track. That corner that we've just been through is another corner where you can try and make a move, diving on the inside. It's rough, it's a bit scary, but you can pull it off. And then we come around the final corner. Really, these last two hairpins, super tricky. Everyone hates them. And the last one especially, you've got to do right so that you can absolutely fire it down the straight. So Jamie Nuttall has taken the lead, and that's out in the chat, obviously. He has the best second sector, although Alvarado with the best first and last sector. Okay, no BMW didn't quite die. So Alvarado then in second with the Honda, enjoying himself in that car. Got really good acceleration, really nice down the long straight. Obviously struggling a bit in sector 2. This track is one of those weird ones where sector 1 is basically the straight, and then just 2 hairpins in a fast right. And the last corner is just the 1 right-hander and then 2 hairpins. So basically this whole racetrack is sector 2. So the sector 2 times pretty important. However, obviously the sector 1 times are where you can actually overtake, and the sector 3 times are where you can act. Oh, great camera. Thank you. Thank you, ACCSimSeries. The sector 3 times incredibly important for getting up onto the back of someone in order to try and make a lap. So this here is the end. You can see him going very wide there to try and set up for a good run to straight, because that wasn't a lap, that was his out lap. So getting absolutely as much as possible out of this one flying lap is Jamie Nuttall. Using all the track there on the corner. Nice bit of the exit as well. However, that little tap on the curb has slowed him down. And it's a really upsetting feeling when you come out of this first sector and you're down whole 10th here for Nuttall. It can still be made up, but you feel like this is the sector that's easier to be consistent at, apart from maybe turn 1 a little bit. So you've really got to ace that. And messing up just a little bit slows your time down by so much. It's not a little time loss there. Alvarado and Fleety both very close to their time. Neither of them improving by a huge amount, but up there, Guillaume Hamling looking for a decent improvement. So we see Nuttall gaining some time as he throws it through the twisty sector 2. Alvarado getting quite a bit of time now. Where is he on the track? He is just coming into sector 3 now. Hamling on the track is just a little bit behind him, so check out these two after we've seen Nuttall go. Nuttall, see again doing that wide line because he was so slow on that lap. He was not going to improve. So now we've got Alvarado. Get on board with him as he comes around the last corner across the line. He is 2 tenths up going into the last corner. Really careful to keep speed up during the corner and get an acceleration off as soon as possible. Big improvement up to a 43 flat. Huge run there for Alvarado. We then have the next car coming across the line, Guillaume Hamling. He was up a few more tenths earlier on in this lap, but is still almost 2 tenths up. Jumps him a decent way ahead of Glendy, but there is a big gap between him and the front 3. Somehow Sam Fleety lost all of his time going into the last sector, and so he is no longer looking able to make any sort of movement up the table. You have Ollie Henley coming through this first sector in his gold McLaren. He's about 2.5 tenths up. And it's interesting because there's basically, there's very much sort of 2 different sets of drivers here, stopgap by Guillaume in the middle. Because, and to a lesser extent Glendy, because just a tiny improvement can get you from Ollie Henley all the way up to Glendy. But then you need a lot more to jump up any further. Junior in 6th position, he's improving on his time as well. Glendy there just had a little bit of a spin, just too much on there. Caught it and managed to keep it out of the wall. But just making sure he gets off the racing line as soon as possible. Bit of a weird choice of way to go, but keeps it safe. No one else was coming up, so no harm, no No foul. Fleety. Back on it, looking for an improvement. He was about this far up last time he came through here, but had lost it by the third sector, so we'll see how he goes. A little bit clunky over the chicane. He's good throughout there. You can take a lot of these curbs. The exact limit is a little bit hard to find, and you can easily get thrown off and lose everything, but
to be here to watch.
Sorry about a little bit of Felipe Massa there, as I'm just playing with my other channels. Waters, actually, in another Audi, coming through the last corner. He is in that sort of group that are very close to jumping up to joining there, as Hermanto heads ahead of Junior. He is 4 attempts up coming around the last corner. Very easy to lose time in that corner. And he does so, but still a decent improvement. It's going to hop him up a lot of places because they're so close. The first to take the checkered line, John Waters. Let's try and find some other drivers out on track. 14 and 18, so there's Nuttall coming across. He's up to second. Good run from him. Rombout's in his new BMW. Again, not one that we need to look at for the champion's sake, because he has changed his car well and truly out of it now, but he jumps into 5th. So Alvarado will be the next coming across. Big improvement. Fastest in every single sector. 42.8. Huge work by Nicholas Alvarado. Hamling, he's coming through with a decent improvement, but he just needs such a huge improvement to catch up to these top 3. Here we are, then, ready for our race. Alvarado in the Honda has taken pole position for our race around the Hungaroring. Followed by Jamie Nuttall in the Bentley. Had a bit of a bad race when we weren't streaming last time out at Zolder. But looking to come back strong. Followed by Sam Fleety, our championship leader. And Guillaume Hamling, the lone Ferrari. Rombouts coming in the BMW and doing quite well. Wasn't fancying it in the Bentley. He's ahead of Glendy Dionysus. Waters and Hermanto follow up before Raven and Junior round out the top 10. Ollie Henley, a little uncharacteristically low down on the order. Shane Thomas as well, back there outside the top 10. Clearly the McLaren not liking it around here, ahead of Miro and Ressa in 2 more BMWs. Richard Christie in the second of the Aston Martins. Another Audi, Benjamin Horiot. And then Tellers, Wagner's, Veschelberg, Robu and Marquez rounding out our are 21 drivers who are going to take to the track today. So, as our drivers are about to head off onto the formation lap.
Alonso doesn't.
Make sure that's turned off. Beautiful. Everything is perfect. And so now, there we go. It took a lot longer than normal. Normally, I barely got through that list. So now we can go off to our highlights and a quick advert. See you soon. Hello and welcome back. We are at the last corner, about to go for our race here today. Drivers setting themselves up in their grid positions. Jamie Nuttall there very close onto the front of Nicholas Alvarado. It looks like Alvarado hasn't quite got as far forward as he can. A little bit of a lazy start there for Guillaume Hamlin, not quite being as far forward as he could have been. Jamie Nuttall taking the lead into turn one, but he is on the outside, so he's going to have a little bit of an effort as Guillaume comes over there, cuts the BMW quite sharply. There we go. As I said, Alvarado gets it back in the middle as we see Reina Ressa going wide. A little bit of a touch in the background. Glendy on the inside of the Porsche there. Alvarado sitting himself right on the inside to try and get in the way of Jamie Nuttall, and that could let Fleety around, but Fleety just a little bit wiggly on those new tyres. Doesn't quite have the goods to get himself around the outside of Jamie Nuttall there. I've had a little bit of a clash further back as our drivers move on. Always dangerous to go side by side through here. We've got to have a lot of people taking to those runoffs, making sure that they are all safe. And Nicholas Alvarado leads into the first section of this race. Robu and Marquez have gotten into it and have fallen quite far back. Teller's a little bit hanging off the edge of everyone else, but not a huge amount. Shane Thomas looks like he might have dropped down a few places as well as the Audi goes wide. I think that is Waters trying to get back onto the track safely. It scares everyone, but does manage just to throw himself on there. Waters now losing absolutely tons of places. Going to have to check down here to see if there are any dives happening. A few attempted moves, people putting their nose out, having a look, but no one quite going for it yet. BMW almost just got himself done by Christie there. So we are now settled into the race. Nothing crazy during lap 1. So it's all going to come down to this corner while people are nice and tight. Let's see if any moves can be made. In the background there, you see the Porsche of Hermanto defending from Junior, who's trying to pull some speed around the outside. This isn't a bad move if you can pull it off. Not quite there. Further back, we don't have anyone who seems to be super close. So it is Alvarado first, followed by Jamie Nuttall, Sam Fleety, Bjorn Hamling, Hermanto Jr., Dionysius, Ressa, Rombouts, and Raven rounding out your top 10. Thomas and Henley still sitting just outside there. Now we start to get people closing in through the wiggly bits. I feel like this Porsche's going to have a hard time as well. If he can't pull away through Sector 2, he's going to struggle with the cars that are slightly more energetic in the straight line right behind him. Truly trained, fully forming now behind Hermanto. The first 4 cars begin to spread out slightly. So a lot of people looking for it as well. BMW, again, as I said, that is possible overtaking place, but a pretty dangerous one. And you can see all of those people moving out to threaten it, but no one actually committing. Lose anything really time-wise, but he needs to stick with this Porsche. This is the most important part to making a move. Get the better exit out of here. Porsche's going to have a great exit, but will start to struggle on the straight, so we're going to see him move to the fence. Junior has to choose. Is he going to go for the wall? He's looking a little bit late there, and the Porsche comes over on him. Porsche comes fully over on him there, and Dave dealing with being hit by the Porsche. Oh, isn't quite ready for that. The Porsche spins around in the middle of everyone. Hold your brakes, sir. Oh. Let's have a re-look at that from a better position to see what is happening. We have a few sort of incidents here. Firstly, the Porsche doesn't close the door totally, and then as Dave Jr. looks for it, closes it, which is a bit on the naughty side. Not sure if he'd get a penalty for that. That's pretty bad. And there's nothing really he can do there until this moment, and he just tries to get back into it too quickly and gets spun around, and then doesn't actually take out anyone by not holding his brakes, but probably should have done that earlier. So he's now right at the back and struggling with a very, very battered Porsche there. I'm sure we'll see his wheel all over the place. Yeah, there we go. Leaning left on the straight. So here's Dave Jr. now getting done by Glendy. It's an interesting place to try and make a move. Glendy always very aggressive in here.
The pit is now open.
So pit is open. We have a lot going on here. Holy, Glendy was sort of trying to get around, and they've had an awkward situation. Dave cuts across and is just holding on with the lead. A nice little train here. Being Thomas trying to make a move on Raven. Right in behind has the slipstream. Raven going for the defense. There's once again left room on both sides. Is coming back to the line. Shane Thomas is going to take a bit of the opportunity, but doesn't brake late enough to throw himself down on the inside. Is just hoping that the BMW will have a bad run down into the next corner, perhaps. Yeah, nothing there. He'd given up on that far sooner than I had hoped for, but inside the car, he doesn't want to do anything stupid. He knows how hard it can be around here and how easy it is to throw an entire race away. Further up in the field, Jamie Nuttall started to come back a bit at Alvarado. Alvarado was really leaving the other three early on, but now Fleety and Hamling have lost grasp of the top two, and Nuttall starting to pull Alvarado in a little bit, so we will keep an eye on that while the real excitement is back here in this train around the lower end of the traditional points, although obviously we score points down to 15th. There's a lot of not having to really worry too much about how the cars are going unless they get much closer than normal through this second sector, and then we really want to start looking again as they come around to the straight. So we're going to be doing a lot of hopping back to cars on the main straight to try and see what exactly is happening. Not really close enough for a move to be made at the front. Further back, a lot of cars very close. This is where I feel we could see a little bit more. Junior's got pretty close to Reina Ressa as well. It's going to be hard for him to actually make a dive. He's just putting his nose out there. Nothing to do it, but further back, the two Audis side by side. Oriol being very careful, both of them being a bit too careful there, actually. I think that was, they fully both gave each other the opportunity there, one by one. Benjamin being a little too careful on the inside, not wanting to push out, and then Walter's giving a little bit too much space. But nice and clean from both of them. Hermanto, after having that incident, obviously jumped into the pits. He managed to get in after the pit window, so good move there by Waters to get back on Horio. Now we are back into sector 2. A little bit wide there from the BMW. Ryan Thomas, that's Rumbouts. We'll use all of your following ability here to be able to keep close to people without ramming into them. Close enough for any real moves soon, so we'll have a look forward again with Jamie Null. Keeping nice and close onto Alvarado, and we can see how well these two are doing, because just as they've come to the end, we're getting people just crossing the finishing line further back. Dave Jr. really wants to put his nose in there every time, keep Reina Ressa guessing, keep him a little bit scared. He wants to make back that position. Let's sit on board with Raven, because Raven here has a nice view right behind some other cars, and you kind of get a good, actually maybe Rumbouts is better, we get more cars in our view. That's a little bit far though. I want to find someone who's nice and close, chasing someone else. Let's go with Ollie Henley, 11th position. Get a nice view of the train of cars ahead of us. The nuts in the chat. Who's the money on to get the first track limits drive through? Don't know. There must be one. There's going to be one, clearly. Don't really know who quite yet. Actually, I should jump forward to him just in case, because he is getting rather close to Reina Ressa. These guys very close. Is he going to go for it there? That's a risk if you do it, but he doesn't really. Spooks Reina a bit and throws him off. That could end up sort of doing it well, but you need to go into this corner. He's going nice out and wide so he can try and do a run. Glendy diving out of that into the pits. That is interesting. Very early pit stop, trying to just undercut everyone here. Feels he has the pace to do it. Super close here for Dave Jr. Again, space left on both sides. Oh, not really. Reina Ressa quite late pulling out there to push him out there, but he's gone around the outside while further back. Oh, we've got a huge pack here. Ollie Henley. How come Ollie Henley made it out so many places? Holy moly. You were too busy watching that fight at the front, and I could see these guys coming. But let's hop into the replay for that one. So already slowed down was, I think that's Rombouts and Thomas, who were side by side there. They're having Waters come up behind them, so 3 wide into turn 1. Nice double lunge there by the first McLaren. Shane Thomas carries more speed around the outside, which is good. BMW a little bit caught up on the exit there, has to move towards the inside to stop Waters getting advantage of him there, so a great bit of racing there between all of them. And that's all getting very close to Alvarado, it seems, by the end of the 3rd sector, but Alvarado just has it hooked up around those hairpins and a nice strong straight line speed, which means that he's not really ever able to be capitalised on by the Bentley driver. He was about 0.2, 0.3 behind coming into the 3rd sector. He's now coming out onto the straight and he's already 0.5, 0.6. So just, he seems to be faster generally, or as fast generally over that, but just slower where he needs to be faster to get an overtake in. A lot of very on-the-limit defending we've seen here in this race so far. But not too many incidents, just that one really with Hermanto. Choo-choo, Royala. BMW train. Trip to 7th here. Which is half of the BMWs we have on this grid. Ollie Henley and Shane Thomas stopping runbouts from being able to join this group of fellows. Again, Nuttall up front, not able to be really close enough to threaten a move. Dave Jr. being very aggressive through this 3rd section. Seems like he's fast through this 3rd section, which is frustrating him because you can't make a move there. And he's got into this awkward position where he's given himself a really bad run out of that turn now because he's been weaving side to side, trying to look like he's going to make a move, but it's not really happening. Ollie Henley dives into the pits, Raven going out to try and make a move, but Junior not letting that happen. Junior with a very tight line though, could have a bad run. No. Does manage to keep it just behind them as well. Looks like we had a similar battle, Rombouts and Walter. So there was the battle we were just watching ahead of us. Shane Thomas doesn't need to worry too much about this, but had to be room left there by Rombouts because he had an Audi on his inside. But this is what I'm talking about with this corner. Dive to the inside. Rombouts giving us a perfect example of how you can carry more speed around the outside, and then this corner you have the inside, and it just gives you an advantage. So as long as you can carry that speed through the first corner on the outside, it's not actually as scary as of an overtaking opportunity as it looks. Well, this is big though. This is big. Let's go into the replay. Here is, that's on board, not replay, my bad. Here is Glendy. Glendy is in pit very early, as we knew, and he was, I believe he was ahead of Ollie Henley already. Ollie Henley comes out very close to him. Doesn't quite make it out ahead, but now is right behind him. So, not sure on exactly how that has done for him. You can see him just up there ahead. I'm not sure Ollie was this close to him before, but Ollie has been making positions while fighting. As we see, Dave Jr. dives to the inside. This time it looks like he's going to get it. Gets a little bit wide on there, but has the run with the other two. Ressa positioning like he's going to make a run, but not. And once again, the exact same thing happens between Rimbalts and Wars. So let's get further up here and watch Dave Jr. dives to the inside. And you see Rainer Ressa there. He makes a mistake. The mistake Rainer Ressa makes there, and why he loses that position, he doesn't try to go around the outside. He tries to tuck in behind and maybe sort of cut back in behind. So give it to a switchback. But that is not what you want to do. Trust me, you want to try and just carry the speed around the outside. That is the strat. And that is what you should have seen him do. Once again, going into Sector 3, and Nuttall is incredibly close to Alvarado. He's managed to keep it through the first of the hairpins, but through these two hairpins, Alvarado does just manage to pull away. This is the closest we have seen the two together for a long time, but still not really close enough to make a move, especially as the Honda is going to have a bit of an advantage at the end of the straight, naturally. Because there you go, through turn 1, we have the train coming through the last turn. Moving already, positioning reasonably defensively. No one else behind, close enough to make anything really stick. About still ahead of Walters. Walters realising the folly of diving to the inside of turn 1. If you have an opponent who knows what he's doing, it's a tricky one to pull off. Here, right on the back of the McLaren, difficult sector to follow through. You've got to keep it going if you're going to make this happen. Again, these two corners, or the three corners, I guess, if you count this one as well, but these two corners are coming up to now the most frustrating on the track, in my opinion, and also some of the most important, because it's through here that you need to set yourself up to be right behind the other car on the exit, and actually not going to have to set anything up because Shane Thomas is going to dive into the pits. Shane Thomas, we saw him getting overtaken by Ollie Henley, so we should expect him to come out behind Ollie, who has still not quite managed to rile in Glendy. Once again, Walters looking for the inside. We're not going to actually try anything this time. And these early pits, these are not what we are looking for. Because this is going to spread the field out even more. Three drivers in the pits now: Shane Thomas, Tim Miro, and Javier Marquez. There we see Hermanto as well. That is tragic. 25 seconds of penalties he's managed to clock himself up. Here is everyone coming out. There's Shane Thomas, just ahead of Marquez. And there is Ollie Henley. So he has just come out ahead, so not a bad section for Shane Thomas. He's sort of come out about where he expected to be. I feel like that went pretty well for Marquez, although he has just disappeared. He has left the server, so it didn't go that well in the end. I didn't see what had happened, but my theory would be... Let's actually go back into the replay long enough that we might be able to find out, perhaps. So there is Marquez, you can see him. I feel like he was further behind the other cars, then he should have been able to get this sort of pace of pit. Like, it seems like he gained a lot in that pit. So I would suggest, theorize, that he gets out here, and then does he pull off? Yeah, you can see him pulling off there. So my theory about this is that he probably got out of the pits and then realized that he'd done something wrong, didn't have his pit stop set up correctly or whatever, and that has led to him not completing his pit stop. And because he didn't complete his pit stop, he gave up. That would be my assumption. Still in replay, but there we go, come out of it now. So Alvarado still leading from Nuttall, Sam Fleeting, Guillaume Hamling in a bit of a COVID bubble behind these guys. Then Dave Jr. also, he's pulled away from Rainaressa now and starting to gather away from their Rainaressa, just sort of at the head of this train of BMW still. 4 in a row now with John Walters on the back behind BMW Kingdom. Have Horiot, Wagner, Sveshlenberg, Pellas, Christian Robu until you get to Dionysius, who is leading those who have pit. Yep, totally could have pulled a Hamling, which I like that is a thing now, pulling a Hamling and pull on wet tyres or something. I doubt it, I don't know how he'd do that, but he seems to have somehow messed up his pit stop in a way that made him think that it wasn't worth continuing. Oh, I was just about to say it's very close there, and it looks like there has been an incident, and a second incident as Rainaressa sort of awkwardly comes over the track. Walters is going to get all 3 of those BMWs at one, but now they're sort of awkwardly trying to reposition themselves, trying to make up for anything that can happen within that as they sort of settle down. We're going to hop into the replay and see exactly what happened there. The Rainaressa in the lead broke a little bit earlier than the car behind him, who tries to carry more speed through the corner, bops him around, and then he tries to catch up immediately and just comes over on the other BMW, probably not realizing he's there, keeps it flat over the grass, lost that position to Walters, and now is defending for his life against the other 2 BMWs. The train has been derailed, but it is back together pretty quickly. Nothing has gone too wrong. These 3 are still there. Just let the Audi pass. So that was a huge win for Walters. He went from 9th to 6th in that one corner. I like having the useless driver count there. It's dumb and I like it. Very close again for the next run through turn 1. So Raven not close enough. Will Horiot or not Horiot have a go? Oh no, Robout's pit. Robout's pit. I thought it was just hidden behind the other BMW, but no. There are now only 2 BMWs in the train. So Dionysius, I'm trying to think where everyone was in relation to the BMW train. I assume the BMW train will come out around Shane. Whether they're front or behind, I can't really remember. They were sort of about that position, right? So it'll be interesting to see exactly where they come in. Ehlers, Rombouts, both in the pits. So there we go. Just see there the BMW's coming out of the pits, so they've gone quite a bit behind Shane Thomas, really. Not super competitive with those times. Is that due to some sort of slow pit stop, or is that just about right? It wasn't a fast pit stop, but it wasn't particularly bad. So I would say that that's probably about where they deserve to be. In that case. obviously have been slightly slowed down by how much they were fighting before. And neither of the other BMWs are going to pit, however, which gives me a little bit of time to check the penalty sheet. Car 100, that is Tellers, has a warning for a little bit of a kiss into the first corner. Car 109, which is Weschelberg, has a warning for disrespecting yellow flags. Car 12, that is Nicholas Varga. He has once again a bit of a penalty for ignoring yellow flags. There we had a 10 seconds for car 7, who is not in here anymore. Oh, he might have rage quit due to getting a penalty. That could be what happened. He got 10 seconds for spinning 911 into P2. That is on lap 1. That is the first incident. Amazingly. A very bad curb take there from Raven, throws him back down the order a little bit. Because Weschelberg has pit. And then the two big incidents, obviously, for Hermanto. He got 10 seconds for the incident that happened on the straight due to his illegal defending, and then another 15 seconds for his attempt at a rejoin, which was deemed reckless, for taking out car 18, causing multiple incidents, and failing to apply the brakes. So a bit of a cavalcade there, obviously a bad situation. Weschelberg comes out the pits with a stop go 30. So a bit too aggressive on entry there. As we see one of the BMWs, that's Raven, I believe, going into the pits. Alright, or was I seeing things? No, I was right. I was faster than the game there. Ollie Henley, after coming out behind him, has started to pull his way up to Dionysius, not having the pure pace, but being able to really make it with consistency. We have now, as Tellers, I believe, who is our Mercedes driver, could hold up Alvarado slightly. Nuttall has fallen back from really challenging distance. Depends how those blue flags go. For those who are wondering, we are not the strictest on blue flags. We do technically have sort of more Formula 1-ish blue flag rules, but you know, it is still the job of others to get through. So Shane Thomas comes through. Rombouts, this is the interesting one. This is the important one. Rombouts coming down the pit lane. There are his fellow BMWs coming out, or his fellow BMW, and I don't know what that other car is. Is that a Lexus? That is a Lexus. I forgot there was a Lexus in there. That's a good job by Vargas there. He has had a very quick pit stop. He's in fact had one of the quickest. He, Glendy, Shane Thomas, Tellers, and Christie are all on 102s. Oh, Miro actually with a 101, so Miro with the best pit stop. But yeah, good job there from Vargas, working his way back up into contention. He wasn't really fighting with these two BMWs before, but now he's right on the tail of them. And that's going to make it interesting to where Junior comes in, because Junior is now past the halfway point. He's going to be on some reasonably scuffed tyres. Hungaroring, not quite a Silverstone, but a lot of fast corners where you can do a bit of sliding. It is still a bit of a pain on those tyres, so where Junior comes out will be very interesting. Ollie Henley behind Glendy. These guys effectively should be in about 4th and 5th, depending on how their times have been going. 144.4 the last time by Henley, 144.3 from Fleety, 44.9 from Hamling. So it is possible these guys with their big undercuts could take Hamling if Hamling has got a little bit bored, which is very easy to happen on this track, in my opinion. And he could have lapsed slightly, and that was not a good move by Ollie Henley. He comes in and just punts Glendy out of the way. He realises it immediately and is slowing down to let Glendy back by. That was not a good one. Let's get into a better camera to see exactly what's happening. Nicholas Alvarado, I can tell you while we are in this replay, has pit from the lead. And I think that was a bit of an accidental dive, right? That was one of those, I broke later than him, and I wasn't trying to dive him, but I'm gonna slip to the inside just because. So, yeah, unfortunate one there. Oh my god, and he's back through. So we've got to go back into the replay to see how he's back through now. Because that should not have happened. Glendy taken aback a little bit by that. He's going to be on pretty worn tyres as well, to be fair to him. So there could be a mistake somewhere there, a little bit slow over the curb there. And is this going to be a send into the hairpin? Actually, Glendy goes wide. Was that just a mistake? Or is he letting Ollie Henley through? Does he feel like he messed up? I'm not sure. That looked very easy. That looked like he was giving the positions away, but it could have just been a monumental screw up there from Glendy, as we have Robo and Ressa in the pits. Reina Ressa, after that incident, was thrown a little bit down the order, so not quite the one who we are the most interested in seeing. That would still be Dave Jr. Alvarado clear out ahead of everyone, as he should be. So Reina Ressa now. There we go. Coming out into 12th position. 12th position there for Reina Ressa. That's Rombouts and Raven. So he came into the pits early and has managed to come good on these other two, actually. That is a good run from him. He was involved in some of those incidents early and has managed to recover from that pretty well. Assuming that he doesn't get a penalty. There's not a penalty coming from him. There is a penalty for Raven, 5 seconds for the incident with 690. So yeah, he is safe. And there we go, Nuttall in the pits. Guillaume Hamling in the pits as well. Sam Fleety in the pits. That means Benjamin Horriot, in the last of the Audis not to go into pit lane, takes the lead. Fabian Robu still has a little bit to go before he gets to the pits. Did we see him in the pits? I think we saw him in the pits and he's in front of his pit stop, is he? I'm very confused now. I'm very confused. Maybe I didn't see him in the pits. I feel like I saw a portion of the pits. Anyway, the point is, where are the important ones to see? Obviously Alvarado has already gone past, so Nuttall has left the picture and is coming out. There is Fleety, and there is Guillaume, so obviously they getting out nice and easy. Here is Dave Jr., and you can see there, actually a huge work there from Jr. He's come out ahead of Ollie Henley and Glendy after those two have been fighting. There is Shane Thomas in the background there, who is just behind an Audi. Is that Walters? That is Walters. So the guys who have pit stopped a little bit later, really having the advantage here. Feel like definitely was definitely right to be suspicious of those early pits, and it's only going to get harder for them because their tyres are going to be going worse and worse and worse. Ollie Henley right behind Dave Jr., but not able to really make anything happen quite yet. Actually in sector 2, nothing to really go. It should be the best section for the McLaren. See him coming through. Once again, these exits really are super important because they decide whether you will succeed on an overtake or not, really before you even have a chance to make the overtake. Ollie Henley there, his 5 seconds for murdering Glendy. Raven with the 5 seconds for the incident with Reina Ressa. drive-through. Ah, so that must be talking about Robu. Okay. So, anyone who pet Robu earlier when we were saying who would get the first drive-through for tack limits. The Horiot has finally pit now as well. He seems to have come out in 14th position. Oh, this is so frustrating. This moment when he's behind and faster through this section, but there's just nothing really you can do. He's going to try and send it, which is a little bit of a mad one. He will be on the inside for this chicane, so nice work there by Ollie Henley. Just so much extra speed that he could do that. And took Junior really by surprise. If Junior had stayed on the inside there would have been absolutely no chance. So good move there by Ollie Henley, and he's pulling up. Junior now going to be threatened by Glendy. Ollie needs to pull out some major pace. Still with 20 minutes of this race left, amazingly. It's been a pretty good one for Hungaroring, so now Junior becomes our interesting one, as Glendy is going to have a look at him, and right behind Waters and Thomas, who are both going to want a piece if they can get one. Rombos and Ressa leading the BMW train back there. Oh wow. That is a selection there. We've got Villeneuve and Juan Pablo Montoya on the F1 broadcast. That's an interesting one. So they're still keeping up pretty well with Ollie for now. Obviously these guys are all reasonably similar pace. Definitely started to settle down now in the second phase of this race. Miro furthers back is pulling up on tellers as well, so we do have a bit of another fight generating over here. Junior getting a big suck in the slipstream down to turn 1, but not close enough to make anything work. Ladies there, just excellent pull out the corner. BMW getting a little bit loose, not able to do anything. Glendy hasn't managed to keep up with Junior either, lost a lot of time. So these guys have even split up a little bit, although, oh, that must have been a mistake from Ollie Henley. Dave's right on his back. Doesn't do anything crazy, no, doesn't go for the dive there. To make a move there, you really have to, like Ollie was last time, be alongside them before you get to any point of braking. So Ollie Henley really wanted to pull away from this group, and he's not managing it. This could be a nightmare for him, because he is going to end up in, it looks like 9th position so far. 5th on the road, 9th position, if things stay as they are. bit of damage there on that Mercedes. Possibly one of Miro's suddenly caught up to him. I didn't notice that the last time. Love the sound of that Mercedes. Only better in real life. As we go back up to the front with these two little pairs here. Clicking it rather than back there. Well, thank you for following Zeta. Bit too much curb. Unfortunately, we haven't got as many streams as we normally have this season because some of our other streamers taken a bit of a break, and unfortunately they've just both happened to have done it at the same time. So obviously only we're doing it for free and for fun here, so I'm totally okay with that. But I should be here every Sunday. Obviously next week we're going to be at Laguna Seca. Obviously some crazy moves made into the corkscrew, hopefully. I'm very excited for my Friday race to make some crazy moves into the corkscrew. And then we finish the season with a race around Spa. Fortunately, obviously, not the new Spa. Love to be down there. Or actually, no, I maybe wouldn't with all the gravel. Probably quite happy that we have the old Spa for a while. Incidents happened for a while, nothing to report in that way. Henley really not able to keep driving quite as smoothly as he'd really want to. But slow on the apex there, that really messed up Junior. Oh, and Junior even sloppier through the last corner. This could be interesting. So he's now going to have Glendy right on his back, and Walters. Oh, Glendy Flasher though doesn't look super close. Goes out even if just to defend from Walters perhaps, who's going to send it around the outside. Really nice by Walters there. This could be good for him, but he just sent it a little bit too far. Ah, nightmare. Nightmare. Now Glendy is prepared to defend on the run down to turn 2. And he again sends it in. Oh, cuts off Glendy. How did he do that? Great move there from Walters. That is not a place where you can normally make a huge move. Shane still just on the end of here, looking to keep up with Glendy. Him and Walters doing the fastest laps of these now as Guillaume Hamling just set personal best of 43.9. 43.3, the fastest lap of the race. That is set by Jamie Nuttall, as you can see. Alvarado is once again in the middle of some back markers. Oh, no, it's Jamie Nuttall behind him. Jamie Nuttall's actually closed up to him a little bit again. Coming up to, is that Tellers? 9:11. So no, that is Robo in the Porsche. Again, we've got the train keeping sort of together, but we only need to see some more mistakes made before we get a move, I think. Glendy falling back a little bit from Walters, possibly feeling the pain of that early pit stop now. He pit at around 15-20 minutes in, I think, so he has been on these tyres for a long time now. Good offensive there from Henley, and now Walters having a look, just putting his nose in there against Junior. Going to be on the outside for this next section, but that was a bold move. Very deep from this Audi. I've seen this a few times now. He's very much pushing at Walters and starting to not go well for him. It was looking good from earlier on of a few moves, but it is not keeping up like that.